Hello there. My name is Monica Burns, and welcome to today's episode of the Easy EdTech podcast. It is 2024, and whether you're joining for the first time, 100th time, or for the 200th time, I am so glad you're here. I have lots of exciting things in store for you this year. Each episode of the Easy EdTech podcast is designed to give you ideas you can try yourself, share with a colleague, or bookmark for later in the school year. Get ready for stories from my time in the classroom, the work I do now with schools and districts, and my travels to different EdTech events, as well as practical ideas and inspiring stories from new guests each month. If we mention something you'd like to check out, you'll find the link to it in the show notes. So don't forget to head to my website, classtechtips.com/podcast, for all of the show notes and resources from today's episode. Today's episode is sponsored by WeVideo, a cloud-based interactive video platform used by millions of educators and students. With WeVideo, educators have everything they need to create dynamic learning opportunities in their classroom, easily assign pre-made video projects in just a few clicks, and collaborate with learners in real time. Embed interactive elements like multiple choice questions, free responses, and discussion prompts into new or existing video content and watch engagement soar. Meet students where they are in a medium they love and develop crucial 21st century skills like creativity, communication, critical thinking, and collaboration. WeVideo makes it easy to create videos, podcasts, GIFs, and more, no matter where you are. Try WeVideo today and maximize engagement, retention, and performance in the classroom. Visit wevideo.com/education to learn more. This week's episode is titled Bulletin Board Ideas for the End of the Year. Now, this one is going live for you at the beginning of May. And if you teach in a space like where I taught in New York City, where we went all the way to the end of June, the end of the year might feel far away, but I know I have listeners in all corners of the country and different spots internationally too. So this is the start of that end of year season for some folks that might finish up right around Memorial Day. And I thought it would be a good time to just share some bulletin board ideas that you could use as the school year draws to a close, whether that's a couple weeks out or more like 2 months up from today. This is a great time of year to celebrate the achievements, growth, and memories made throughout the school year. And creative end-of-year bulletin boards are a great way to showcase accomplishments and even inspire reflection. These are ones you might put up now and have waiting for you when the school year returns after the summer. Now, I'm going to share a handful of ideas with you, and even though bulletin boards might seem a little old school, particularly if you have some digital boards in your spaces, if you have a physical, traditional bulletin board, I'll even share some tips today for adding QR codes that can help you take a digital spin. So today, in this episode, we'll look at 7 end-of-year bulletin board ideas that you can use to spark conversations, encourage moments where kids might come together and reminisce a special event, and hopefully leave a lasting impression on your students. And of course, like I mentioned, I'll share some of those techie connections, those QR code tips as we go through. First up on our list is a memory lane bulletin board. You can create a bulletin board filled with photos, drawings, and student quotes that highlight their favorite memories from the school year. You can encourage kids to contribute their own small moments. Maybe it's a picture that they've snapped or a drawing that they've made to the board. And for a digital spin, you might even add a QR code that links out to a video they've created. Maybe something like one they've created in Microsoft Flip, formerly Flipgrid, or Adobe Express. So memory lane, a great way to collect a favorite memory or two from every student from this past school year. Next up is a summer wish list. You can design a bulletin board where kids can add their summer wish list items. This could include a place they like to visit or a goal for their summer. You might keep it really broad, or you might have more of a theme, like a wish list for a type of book they want to read or a place in the community they want to visit. So if students are familiar with a tool like Seesaw, you might ask them to draw pictures inside of Seesaw and record their voice, sharing their summer wish list item. You can then use that QR code option that's built automatically into Seesaw to share their videos. Number 3 on the list are virtual field trip ideas. So in addition to showcasing student work, you might use an end of the year bulletin board to share some summer resources. I've got a list of favorite summer virtual field trips that I'll link out to. You could start there for inspiration. I'll put the link for you in today's show notes, and you can choose a few and connect your favorite links to a QR code. You could also print out photos or screenshots that go along with each suggestion. So maybe it's a virtual field trip of a spot in Washington, D.C. So you print out a picture of the Lincoln Memorial and put a QR code right next to it so students can scan and then explore that space. Next up are future predictions. Now, this year, 2024, we've seen oodles of changes in the edtech space. Maybe you've tried out some AI tools this school year. Maybe you've played around more with ChatGPT this school year. So you can encourage kids to make predictions about what they think their classmates and them will be doing, right, in 5, 10, or 20 years. And you might make connections to emerging technologies like generative AI or maybe science fiction books that you've all read together, and you can create a bulletin board showcasing their predictions. Maybe you even incorporate a timeline where they say that what they imagine happens in 5 years, and 10 years, or 20 years after they finish up this school year. Number 5 on our list is a classroom garden. Now, you can design a bulletin board with an outdoorsy or garden theme. Maybe it's something where kids create their own paper flowers or their own plant or their own leaf of a tree. And each item that they add to the garden might represent a specific accomplishment or a skill that they mastered or a memory from the school year. Maybe you set it up so that one color flower represents one type of accomplishment, or one leaf on a tree represents a memory from a special event. Or if you wanted to do this with more of a digital layer, you could have kids record their voice on a tool like Padlet. If you've been with me for a workshop this year, either virtually or in person, you've probably played around with Padlet with me. It's one of my favorites. And that could be a nice way to add a digital layer. Then you could turn that whole Padlet page with everyone's contributions into just one QR code and add it to the corner of your bulletin board along with your classroom garden. Next up is some favorite books bulletin board. You could encourage kids to share their favorite books from the school year on a bulletin board that is themed for their favorites. So this could resemble a bookshelf maybe, and each student makes their own book cover that corresponds to their book or puts in a short review. And if you have students display their own cover designs, they can put some of the reasons why they changed, almost like a caption underneath their new image. They can use a tool like Adobe Express to create graphics with alternative book covers for a favorite book. There's actually templates built into Express where kids can search book cover, and they can use that as a template for making a new version of a book cover. So before we get to the last one on our list, number 7 on our list of end of year bulletin board ideas, I want to take you through some quick steps for making a QR code for your bulletin board. This is something that you can do any time of year, but because I've mentioned it a few times, I want to make sure you have the steps. So first, you choose a QR code generator. You can browse the internet for all sorts of reliable, user-friendly QR code generators. I typically go to qrstuff.com. It just has become my default, but there's lots of them. I mentioned Adobe Express before. They have a quick action where you can access the QR code generator there too. Then you'll determine the content type, like what type of content you're linking to a QR code. Usually this is a website link, but you could actually connect a QR code to like an email address or a piece of text. But in our purposes, most likely it'll just connect to a link to something. Then you put in the content. So usually this is where you would copy and paste the link that you want to make a QR code out of. So maybe it's that Padlet page. You take the website URL and then you plop it into the QR code maker. Then you can customize the design. Some QR codes will let you choose different colors for the QR code, and then you'll generate and download that QR code. So you'll save it typically as an image, PNG, or JPEG file that makes it really easy to print it out or display it on a space like another space you want someone to scan it. In our case, because we're talking about bulletin boards today, you will want to print it out like you would a picture of anything, cut it out and put it on your bulletin board. Now, for a traditional bulletin board, I'm thinking of one that takes up a good chunk of your wall. You might want to print it so your QR code's a couple inches of a square. That way it's big enough for someone to scan, even if they're standing a couple feet back. So back to our list of 7, the last one is a gratitude wall. You can make a bulletin board where kids express their gratitude to teachers, classmates, and school staff. This could include thank you notes, drawings, or short messages of appreciation. And if your students would rather share their gratitude on video, you might create a shared folder, maybe in a space like Google Drive full of their videos, and then you can link out to those videos using a QR code too. So here's 7 ideas for you. I love end of the year bulletin boards ideas as that final chance to get creative in sharing student accomplishments and celebrations, really foster reflections. It's also a good fact finding to you, particularly if you do a gratitude or a memory wall, because then you can get a sense of what everyone was most excited about this year, and you can try and replicate that next year. And a reminder, if you do use one of these ideas, don't forget to snap a picture. I always think about my own bulletin boards, how I wish I had more pictures of them. You might take that picture just for yourself so that you've got it for your own professional portfolio. But if you want to share it more widely, tag me on social media. It's at Class Tech Tips on Instagram and Twitter. Would love to see it and help celebrate your work too. So let's finish up this episode by making this EdTech easy. Create vibrant bulletin boards to celebrate student accomplishments and memories. Boost engagement with QR codes for interactive features like student reflection videos. Personalize displays to engage students and foster pride in their achievements. And document your bulletin boards for your portfolio and to inspire others. Remember, you can find the show notes and a full list of resources from today's episode, including links to some of the tools and resources I mentioned, by heading to classtechtips.com/podcast and finding today's episode, number 266. Thanks again to our friends at WeVideo for sponsoring today's episode. Visit wevideo.com/education to start your free 30-day trial of WeVideo and get instant access to powerful multimedia tools, interactive elements, ready-made video projects for students, and more. This March, we'll celebrate 5 years of the Easy EdTech podcast. To help celebrate, I'm hoping you can do us a favor. Leave a rating or review for the podcast wherever you're listening today. Spotify will let you tap on the stars, and Apple Podcasts will let you tap on the stars too and leave a 1 or 2 sentence review. A big thank you in advance for helping us get ready to celebrate this March.